Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Melanie. If you're new to this channel, hi, hey, and welcome to the family. To all my 10 subscribers plus viewers, welcome back to another video. So as you guys have seen in the title, today we'll be speaking about how I am a PE survivor. And if you guys want to know more about what is PE and all the gists and tea about everything and what happened to me in the last 6 months, not six, but in the last 5 months, then please make sure to stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and yeah, let's get into this. Some of you guys might be asking yourself, what is PE, right? So PE is an abbreviation for pulmonary embolism, and this is a condition whereby blood clots enter the arteries in the lung, which prevents breathing. So it is life-threatening. It almost took my life, by the way. But yeah, that is what PE is. So before the whole experience, I knew nothing of pulmonary embolism. Before, just to give you guys a little background, I was not in a good condition. I wasn't taking care of myself as I should be taking care of myself. And on top of that, last year I was very sick. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, and the treatment for that was contraceptives. So basically contraceptives have side effects, right? Besides what they actually do, they have side effects. And unfortunately for my part, the side effects were blood clots. So the contraceptives were creating blood clots in my body. So now those blood clots were traveling, usually they travel from the leg, right? They are created in the leg and then they travel throughout the body. So unfortunately on the 28th of September 2024, one of the blood clots decided to invade my lungs and I had difficulty breathing. I did struggle to breathe last year sometimes. During some months I would have shortness of breath, but like on that day it was very, very heavy because it from the shortness of breath it went to difficulty breathing, it went to chest pains, it went to lightheadedness, it went to fainting, not fainting, but blacking out, and then it led to my skin being discolored. And yeah, I had to be rushed to the clinic, and then from the clinic I was rushed to the hospital. So unfortunately on that day I was alone. My mom was at work, my grandparents was at a church retreat, my siblings were at my aunt's place, and my uncle was nowhere to be found. So I was alone. I didn't know what to do, but by God's grace I was able to stand up, because when that happened I couldn't walk. Literally just standing up was an issue even. Let's start there. So I had to lie down in a certain position. I wasn't supposed to lie down flat on the floor because that even made it worse. But lying down, but like standing up was a struggle. And on top of that, walking even would lead me to just fall on the floor. So my phone was it was at a distance from me. It was on my desk, right? And Mina, I was next to my bed, which is quite a distance. So I had to stand up, go get my phone, and be able to call my mom, right? So by the grace of God I was able to do that, and then my mom was able to call help. And then from then on, went to the hospital, and yeah, it was a whole thing. So before we get into the next part of the story, I would just quickly like to tell you the symptoms of pulmonary embolism. So the symptoms consist of shortness of breath, chest pains, lightheadedness. Sometimes it consists of a cough, which I didn't have at that moment until later on. And then it consists of discoloration of skin, excessive sweating, which I also had, excessive sweating, a fever, and it also consists of fainting and a fast heart rate. So those are some of the symptoms that you would experience when you are having pulmonary embolism. I experienced most of that except for the fast heart rate and as well as the fainting. From the clinic we went to the hospital. I was admitted in casualty. Actually, I was not admitted until 6 days later, but anyways, I was sent to the casualty, and that's when they diagnosed me with acute, actually it was an acute pulmonary embolism. It was scary, I won't lie. I could literally feel myself fading away, but I always told myself to just try to stay awake, because As time went by, I just wanted to close my eyes and just, rest, because I'm tired of trying to keep myself alive and breathing. And my mom is also there. She's also, you could see that we are just tired, like we just want to be done and over with, right? So now we didn't understand how severe and life-threatening PE was until when my mom was asked to sign a paper, or rather it's a concern from giving her consent for the doctor to treat me, right, in order to dissolve the clot in my lung. But that meant that the medication would have side effects whereby it could lead to brain bleeding, right? My brain bleeding. And if that ever happens, they would have to wait 24 hours before they were opening me up for surgery. And that could be a whole other complication. So it was very scary, guys. And Mina, I just wanted to breathe. Let's start there. I wanted to breathe, guys. I couldn't breathe. Like I had to use oxygen, was helping me to breathe, but still it was a struggle to breathe. My chest was just painful and I was just tired. Like I just wanted to be done, I just wanted to be done. And I was praying for my life, guys. When I tell you that I was praying for my life, I was praying for my life. I was scared. My mom is scared. Everyone is just scared, and even the doctors. And the to even make matters worse, the doctor that was treating me was like, "Please don't die on me." And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? The doctor was like, please don't die on me. Like, you're still young, and I'm still young, and I'm trying to keep my job. So if you die, I'm leaving this job as a doctor. So please do not die on me. So to her, I was her very first patient with pulmonary embolism. I'm not sure if I was the first patient with pulmonary embolism at the hospital, but they were so excited. I don't want to tell you lies. I've never seen doctors so excited but scared at the same time, because they were excited to be treating such a life-threatening condition, but also at the same time they were scared because it either meant I would live or I would die. But God was there. God was there. My family's prayers was there, and then I was treated, got scanned, and then I went to ICU. Yeah, I spent 6 days in the ICU, and that was horrible. That was horrific. That was painful. That was scary. Like, those 6 days were very, very painful for me because number one, I was the only person who was awake in ICU. Number two, I would always see dead people. In a sense that every day there would be someone dying, and it was painful and it was scary because I was asking myself who's next, right? So I experienced a lot of people dying and a lot of screams. It was just so sad, so scary and hectic, and I was asking myself, where am I? Am I next? Or like, do I have to wait until like two more people die before I become next? Like, it was so scary, guys. And that was when I was like, you know what, God, this is not how my life ends. Literally, I was so angry, but also at the same time I was scared. So I was like, God, this is not how my life will end. Honestly, like, this is not how. Like, I'm the first thing was like, you gave me culinary sciences, and then on top of that, I have a whole life to live, and I'm still 19. So this is not how my life is going to end. Like, I'm sorry, God, but this is not how it's going to end. So I beg of you, please, dear Father, save me, right? And it was a constant prayer, honestly. And then seeing my parents as well coming to visit were literally 3 o'clock was the happiest time of my life because that's when I would be able to see my parents, and my family, and it was so comforting just to see them. But also at the same time, it broke my heart because they never thought in their lifetime they would see me lying in an ICU bed and that weak, and it was so sad to see the pain that they're feeling in their eyes. So it was quite painful, but also it was I was quite happy because I'm alone in the hospital. The nurses are there, they're very friendly. It wasn't that bad when it comes to them because sometimes they would keep me busy, but it was scary. So just seeing a familiar face and just having to not be scared again was the best thing ever. So from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, those were the best times of my life. But when it hits 4 o'clock, oh my God, I'm miserable again. Imagine, I am miserable again. But Also, I was treated by 5 doctors, so that's how bad it was, guys. Like every day I would be seen by 5 doctors, and they would be debating on how to treat me in front of me and not tell me anything. So I had to, at some point I had to guess, and after some time I was like, you know what, this is crazy. I need to ask what's happening. So they would explain what was happening with me at that moment, but yeah. So I was 6 days in the hospital. No, sorry, 6 days in the ICU. No movement, just me on that bed. The only movement was my hands and my face. The rest, nothing done. You know. And then I was discharged from the ICU. On the 6th day, and I went to the ward. So to the ward, it was the scariest part as well because I was in the cardiac cardiothoracic ward, cardiology ward, something along. Yeah, it was just the heart. So there you could find people with the most heartbreaking heart conditions, and it was just a lot. And I was the only 19-year-old at that time, and the people whom I was sharing a room with, they were very kind, they were very friendly, they made it easier. Although I was depressed, guys, like the hospital is just depressing. And for the fact that you almost died, it's just a lot to handle. But the thing that I wanted to do the most was leave the hospital. Like at that moment, my only focus was to leave the hospital. So now I had to deal with, what's this? I had to deal with physiotherapists to come and help me regain my strength to walk because I couldn't walk. So they had to start me from the beginning to walk again, to stand even, to start standing first and then to walk. And that night when I was done with my physiotherapist, it was so painful. Oh, before that, I met with my pulmonary specialist, and he basically just told me how I was doing, what was happening exactly, and yeah, how to take care of my health. And then after that, he told me that I was going to get discharged. But unfortunately, on the day, it was Friday at 9 p.m. So that would mean that the only discharge I would get was on a Monday. So it means I had to stay 2 more days at the hospital. I was so sad. But anyways, I did stay. I did work with a physiotherapist that day. And then that night, I couldn't sleep. Like my chest was so tight, guys. I thought I was dying again. Like it was so tight, like I couldn't breathe. And I kept drifting in and out of sleep until I saw this lady who passed away in front of me. Yeah, you see those machines, the ECG machines, the ones that shows you the life. Yeah, and then when the heart is beating, you can see the zigzags, but then when they pass away, it's just a line. Yeah. I experienced the machine going from a zigzag to a straight line, and I was just like, wow, yet another person did. And I was so depressed, guys. I don't want to tell you lies. Like just seeing people die around you, it was just depressing. So fast forward, I was discharged from the hospital. I was so happy, guys. When I tell you that that was the happiest day of my life, I was so excited. I was like, you know what? And I told myself, I'm like, you know what? When I get home, I'm gonna do everything I want to do. Like life is too short. Like I'm gonna make sure I live my life to the fullest. Little did I know that I had to deal with PTSD, I had to deal with my depression, I had to deal with school, and I had to deal with a whole lot of changes in my life. So basically, after I was discharged, I was so happy. The doctor did tell me to take it slow because honestly, I just came from a life-threatening condition. So he was like, you know what, take it easy and like, just getting the hang of it. Guys. So yeah, the treatment basically was for me to change my lifestyle. In a sense, I need to be more active, I need to eat certain foods and stop certain foods. I had to go back to my gynecologist, and then I can be treated for polycystic ovarian syndrome. And then after that, yeah, I just had to do a lot of life changes. And then on top of that, I had to take blood thinners. So now another thing about blood thinners is that you must make sure that you don't do anything to cut yourself, because that would mean you would lose more blood because your blood is thin. So now I really had to live with precaution. Literally, I am living with precaution right now. I'm still taking my blood thinners, and yeah, so far So yeah, recovery was quite challenging. I think with the whole experience I had to deal, and I still am dealing with a little bit too much, right? So unfortunately I forced myself to go back to school very early, and that costed me my academic life. In a sense that I couldn't achieve what I was supposed to achieve. I would write my exams while I was sick, while I was also weak. Like, it was just a lot, and my concentration levels were just low, and I just didn't understand what was happening. Yep, I didn't understand what was happening, but I was just trying to pick up the pieces, because in my head, I'm a strong girl, I'm strong, I can do this, I can fight through this. But unfortunately, strong girls also need time to rest. And I didn't get that. I didn't give myself that. Instead, I pushed myself, and now I'm suffering the consequences, guys. There's the consequences. Oh, now I'm dealing with the consequences. But yeah, so what I had to deal with for recovery, mostly that I'm still dealing with right now, is my mental health. In the hospital, like I said, it was depressing. Just being around sick people, and on top of that, witnessing a lot of deaths in front of you. Like, it was a very scary moment and very depressing. So yeah, I am dealing with that. As well as when I left the hospital, yeah, at that time it felt like, yay, I'm out and then I'm me again. But then what I didn't realize that is, after PE, my life changed. Like, the person who I was before the 28th of September and the person I am today, they're two totally different people. Like, I lost my spirit, I lost my soul there, So when I came out of the hospital, at the first month, I was so energetic, I was fine, I was doing stuff. But then as the months preceded, that's when I started to realize that I actually feel empty. Like, I started feeling empty, I started feeling like I'm not worth anything, I started feeling like, what am I doing with my life? I started like having a lot of thoughts. I did feel lost, I did feel empty. And now it meant that I had to start life again from the beginning, So after being discharged, it was a matter of me starting again, instead of me picking up the pieces and moving. So in my head, for me, it was like, pick up the pieces and move, girl. But unfortunately, that's not how it worked. I had to start again from the beginning. In a sense, I had to rediscover myself. I had to position myself again, in a sense that now, with the lifestyle changes and always having to be aware and vigilant of my health, and strict as well with my health, because there are certain things I can't do and there are certain things that I have to do, so like keeping up with medication, keeping up with the health, the lifestyle changes, spirituality part. Like, I stopped going to church after the whole PE thing, because I felt like a hypocrite, like going to church, sitting there, and coming back as the same person. And worst part, you come back even emptier, And for me, I used to go to church, and when I came back, I used to come back with a message, with a lifestyle change. I used to come back and be like, oh, okay, so today at church we learned about this. So I had to come back with a self introspection that I had to do, a self evaluation that I had to do, And now, back then, I would just come back from church tired and sick. I was sick and tired. So yeah, I had to stop going to church. Not had to, but yeah, I just had to stop going to church. And that's when I started dealing with my spiritual health at home, just slowly trying to get back into believing in God, believing in, like, having hope, because I also lost that. Like, I lost hope. Like, things were no longer meaningful to me. Like, it was just like, yeah, at least I'm alive, It was that thing, like, it felt like the Lord left, and it was also crazy, because people would be like, oh my God, the Lord is good. And I would also say, like, the Lord is good, because the Lord is good, But back then, it was more like just having to say it, But I wouldn't feel that. Like, I wouldn't, when you would even tell me about God, I'll be like, you know. And that's when I realized that maybe that was caused because I was asking myself, why did the Lord allow me to go through such a life-threatening condition and experience? Like, what was there to learn for me? Like, especially at 19. Like, maybe if it was at 25, it would have been better. I don't know why would I say something like that, but literally I felt like if he had done that at 25, it would have been better. Like 19, like 1 9, guys. And it was like literally months. I think September, October, November. It was actually 2 months before my birthday, you know, like before I turned 20. So yeah, guys, life after PE was never the same. Yeah, guys, as a pulmonary embolism survivor, I've been through it. I've done all things, and honestly, I wouldn't have done it without God. He was with me all step of the way, and he still is with me throughout this recovery. And it's not easy. It's really not easy, you know, like be having to always be very cautious of what you do and limiting yourself and fighting every day to wake up and just do something and not think too much, you know, and not be scared. It's quite tiresome, you know, like I get tired and I'm sorry, having to witness the pain that your parents see when you look at when they look at you, you know, like they're just like, ah, shame, man. And how you could see if like there's sometimes I do like have moments whereby I'm out of breath, and like you could see how scared they could be, or like how scared they are. And you're also like, this affected all of us in a very negative way. So my family and I were still dealing with this painful experience. I'm learning to let go of it as well. It was an experience. It was something that I had to go through in order to build myself. And yeah, we are here now. So the Lord has been faithful. The Lord has been doing what he has promised to do, which was to be by my side, you know. And yeah, so every day that I wake up, I thank him, because sometimes at night you just wish to sleep and never wake up. And sometimes when you wake up, you just wish to just, you know, sometimes I've had thoughts like maybe I should have died on that deathbed, you know, but that's just the devil working in me, you know. But yeah, man, the Lord is good. The Lord is good. The Lord is faithful. The Lord is true. And I want you guys to believe that in whatever you're going through, in whatever experience it may be, whether life threatening, whether not life threatening, whether it's stressful, and whatever it may be, the Lord is faithful and he will keep his promise to you. You just need to believe and have that hope and faith in him that he is there every step of the way, you know? Even though you may not feel him, even though you may not do anything, but he is there and he takes care of his own. So yeah, guys, that is my experience as a pulmonary embolism survivor. And yeah, I think I'll end the video here. You know that I love you, and you know that God loves you. Until we meet again in another video, stay safe, and please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. That will help me so much. And yeah, guys, I'll see you again in my next video.